All right, guys, what's up? Happy Sunday, March 2nd, a new month, 2025. We did just get the monthly bar close here on all of our futures markets. So here's the monthly chart. That was February. Now that that's closed, we're really interested in what's going to happen here for March. And of course, we try to call it out before it happens because knowing it after the fact doesn't really do anybody any good, right? All right. You got the yearly chart, quarterly chart, monthly chart, weekly chart, daily chart. We're in the business of forecasting things before they happen and then taking advantage of those calls. So what do I expect for the next 24 hours in ES? I do expect the market to be under a little bit of pressure initially, like we're seeing right now in Asia. And the reason for that is because the weekly chart here, it did break that pink dot. That's a pretty important level. You see the true average here. So there is some temporary resistance here on the weekly and right there on the monthly that is exuding downward pressure on the daily here. So I would be in favor of shorting up into this general resistance area where we're at now. And I would look for a move down to 59.20 because you can see that's where we've got a lot of support right there on the daily and right there at the weekly. So that's the key level I would watch. I expect that might be the range for the day, kind of up into here. Let's get the exact number for you guys. I don't think we're going to test up to these levels here. I don't. It could happen, but I think there's a lot of resistance just right here, right where we're at. And so 59.80 down to 59.15 could be a good range for the day. If 59.20 starts to break down, look out. But I'm kind of expecting some consolidation here, and I would be in favor of shorting the rallies in this consolidation. So that's my analysis. When I look at the chart, it's not like I see an end of day pattern where I say, hey, this thing is looking awesome. Let's just go short right now, put a stop, let it ride. No, sometimes I see those trades and I tell you, and those are fantastic calls, but I'm very selective on those calls. Otherwise, I'm just going to give you my general overarching analysis, tell you what I think is happening, what maybe the projected range of the day will look like, and how I would trade it. And the cool thing about this is once I start the live trading room, you're going to get to see how I trade my own calls across all these markets in real time, live, before it happens, how I trade my Top Step XFAs, how I trade my Tradeify accounts, how I trade my own brokerage account, all these different things. Okay, so it's not just sitting here making calls and then, you don't get to see how I execute my trades. You will get to see that, which is, awesome, because if you can't execute it, what's the point of having really good information and analysis? There is no point. All right, so that's ES. Let's go ahead and look at NQ real quick. Definitely looking similar here for NQ. You've got the daily pulling back here. I would expect the market to want to get back down and test this, 20,625, 2670, right in there. I think the market will be under pressure. I mean, you've got a beautiful, beautiful extension level right up into 21,210. So certainly if we got up into this zone, that would be a fantastic place to look for a short. And I will be doing that on my own account. That's a nice level right there. I like to wait for the market to come to these key levels that I've identified and then see what my intraday charts are telling me and then take action or don't, based on if the intraday charts are confirming what I think should be a strong daily, weekly, monthly resistance or support zone, then I take the action, right? So it's a pretty logical approach. I think those of you that are starting to pay attention are seeing where I'm coming from. You're picking up what I'm putting down, and that makes me happy. Overall, I think the NASDAQ is now starting to correct. If we look at the yearly chart, quarterly starting to roll over, monthly now starting to roll over. So for the month of March, I will be looking to short rallies, unless this price structure changes dramatically on the monthly. I think this was a pretty big break to the downside last week, pretty key. And if we look back in time, the only other time recently we had kind of, we had a pretty good flush there, but I guarantee you that was into a ton of monthly support. This was our last really good move to the downside, July of 2024. And I think this could be what we're perhaps in the early stages of right now, because you did get that move down on the monthly chart here. So I'm not saying I would just go short here and let it ride. But certainly for the month of March, you've got a lot of resistance right up in here at 21.6 on the monthly chart. A lot of resistance up here on the quarterly chart. The yearly is already rolling over. So I'm feeling pretty bearish about the NASDAQ at this exact moment. And that makes me very, very happy because I enjoy shorting a lot more than I enjoy longing, because shorting, I mean, you guys have heard it, right? It's whatever it is. It's a escalator up and an elevator down. So imagine the elevator just loses its brakes and just collapses. And I think that's what you're seeing right here on the daily. So I'm going to be looking for key levels to short this week, unless I see a change in price structure. If we manage to reclaim some key weekly and monthly levels, fine, that'll change my analysis. But right now that's not looking like it's going to happen. So that's why I'm going to trade the NASDAQ. That's a very, very key level for me right there, 21,200. I would love to see price test that area. You'd have a good short potentially from there, at least back down to the middle of the envelope here, if not all the way down here to the envelope bottom in the true average. So that's what I will be looking for in the NASDAQ. Let's look at the Dow. The Dow is also looking very weak. The monthly is in congestion cycling here. You can see we're topping out here for the last few months on the Dow with this resistance level up here. And now we're probably going to be cycling up. Well, probably cycling back down is my guess here on the Dow. So, I would be betting on a return back to 42,000 for the Dow. But where's my resistance level? Well, pretty much 44.5 up in here. True average. You got that cyan dot. You got that yellow dot. A lot of resistance right up in here on the Dow. So if I have that resistance there on the Dow, well, what am I looking for on the weekly? I'm looking for the weekly to try and, pop up here. Maybe the daily gives a little pop. That's where you want to short. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on the Dow. We may not even get back up there, but that's a key resistance level. Here for this week, you can see you got a really nice resistance level here, 44, 110. And that's just above these daily highs. So I would look to be shorting anything up here around these daily highs. Anything that tries to break out, I would be betting on that it's a false breakout that's going to reverse back down and go like that. So that's what I'm looking for the Dow. Right now, the daily, you can see we're just in congestion, trending down. And now here you go. We're doing this kind of thing. So I would be betting on, resistance here for a cycle back down. Let's look at the Russell. It's about 7:30 p.m. here, guys, in Costa Rica. I had a nice day with my family. Went surfing, spent a lot of time in the sun. So I'm pretty tired here on my Sunday evening. Sorry, it's 6:30 here. It's 7:30 Eastern. So I'm just giving you what I got left in the tank here, and just setting this up for the upcoming week and the upcoming month, because we just had that monthly close. So here on the Russell, I mean, you can already see on the yearly chart here, we're probably going to want to cycle back down here. Quarterly's rolling over. Monthly broke some key levels there. Should continue to have a lot of resistance on rallies. The weekly kind of held this zone, but it's not really looking great for the Russell. So I think you got to bet on resistance this week as well. You can already see the daily has popped its head right up into our resistance zone here to start Asia. Boom, boom, beautiful resistance zone. Probably going to want to try and push back down here over the next day or two. That's what I'd be looking for. And again, this can change on a daily basis, guys. So just use this analysis to set up your trades intraday, and then let your intraday charts confirm or deny these levels, right? So like tomorrow, if I wake up and I see that before the New York Open, these markets have broken my key resistance levels and we're ripping to the upside, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be shorting all day. No, I'll be looking for longs, because these levels I'm identifying, if they're accurate and legit, they shouldn't be breaking, right? So you got to look at the markets like this. Nothing is black and white. Everybody wants kind of a cookie cutter system. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, for most. But fortunately for those of us who do make consistent money, that's why we make consistent money, because we're flexible in our thinking, and we don't get married to one side or the other of our analysis, and that's key. All right, let's quickly look at the Treasury space. We'll look at the 10-year to start. All right, well, that is super interesting. That is a very nice exhaust pattern on the 10-year. I would be betting on a correction now overnight, so I would be in favor of shorting notes and bonds. You get the weekly key level there at 111.6. A lot of resistance up there on the daily, so that's the level I'd be kind of looking for there on the notes. Just any kind of rallies. Looks like they want to be shorted. Let's go ahead and just look at the 30-year and then the Ultra Bond. Yeah, here's the 30-year, and I think, that's a pretty good little exhaust right there. Yeah, we broke the pink extension there, but look at the monthly. You've got some resistance up in here. You're coming back to this key resistance level on the quarterly. So you've still got a lot of resistance here on the yearly. I think the daily may want to try and roll over now. We've had a big move up in bonds and notes, which means we've had a big drop in rates, right? Because of the fear trade. Everybody's been piling into treasuries. But I think this market looks like it wants to roll over and give some back now. So if that does start to happen, maybe there's a little less fear in the market for right now, and then maybe stocks will stabilize. So you got to look at all these markets together as one cohesive unit because they all interplay and interact with one another, right? So if I started to see, the bond market drop, like I think it's going to, at least temporarily pull back, that tells you that maybe, there's a little bit less fear, which means even if stocks start dropping tomorrow, maybe they will, find support at those key levels I outlined. So just keep these things in mind. All right, let's look at the, we don't need to look at the Ultra Bond because it's going to be the same as the 30-year and the 10-year. Let's look at gold. As you know, I called out for my analysis last Thursday, I think. Hey guys, key levels of support have been broken on gold. Let's start looking for shorts. That was here on this daily close when we broke that 29.10, 29.20 level. I said, here we go to the downside, and so far that's what's happening. And that's what I think is going to continue to happen. I think gold is due for a pretty ripe little correction here. We'll go ahead and see what we got on the monthly chart for the month of February, but it's looking pretty bearish to me. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty interesting. And guys, this is scenario analysis. I talk a lot about this. You see here, just look at this pattern, put it in your head, right? Put it in your pipe, smoke it, right? I'm just kidding, guys. Gotta have fun. Just look at that. And now quickly, I'm going to jump over to crude because I remember this exact pattern on crude. I think it was the last monthly bar in crude. So just keep an eye on that pattern. We'll load crude. I want to show you something. We'll go back to gold. We'll keep working our way through the futures list over here. But you can see here, once crude loads. All right, so you see that? I don't even need to let the rest load. That's the monthly from January's closed heading into February. And you see that big push up, close back down, below pink dot, below these two, pink dot, true average, and then just picked it up and went down. Well, now take your attention back to gold here when it loads. And I think we're at the beginning stages of this type of a move to the downside on gold. So this is how you use all my patterns, my types of trading, my levels, my logical sequencing, scenario analysis. You put all these things together and you just find fantastic trades. And you just wait for those trades to come. And they repeat again and again and again. And nothing is perfect, but it works very good, gives you an edge. And you got a great opportunity to trade these markets when you can have confidence in your analysis. So I don't really know how else I can put it, but having something that works is definitely very nice and key. So here you can see on the monthly, we expect this resistance up here into 29.20. Again, that's that key level that broke down right over here, that support level on the daily chart, right? So I would be looking for, let's say the daily right here. If we were able to get a push, a daily bar up like this on close, I would expect a lot of resistance there. I would not expect the daily to break out into a trend reversal on the daily chart. I would expect it to pick up that resistance and roll back over, and that's the short I would be looking for. It's also right into a lot of weekly resistance there, 29.30-ish, 29.20, 29.30. So I'm going to be looking to short gold up into that level. Are we going to go up there first? I think so. Would I go long here? No, because I like to trade in the direction of the higher time period charts, which in this case is the monthly, the weekly. They're very bearish. So, even though gold could have a pop, I'll just wait for the short to come into my zone and then hammer it. So that's what I'm looking for on gold. Let's go ahead and bring up silver. We're loading silver here. We're not going to look at copper or platinum right now. I really don't have the energy. None of you trade it anyways. Again, once I'm done with the course and all the infrastructure I'm building, dealing with the Discord, growing that, all that. Once all that's finished, all that admin stuff and infrastructure stuff, then I can turn my attention fully back to the markets, and then I'll be covering all these markets in extreme depth every single day because those are the markets I want to see. Hey, what am I going to be day trading tomorrow in the live day trading room? I've got to cover all the markets. Right now, I'm just giving you guys what I got every day on YouTube, letting you know what I'm seeing, and we're really going to ramp it up once we launch the course and I start doing the live day trading room. It's going to be sweet. People are like, oh, are you going to charge for that? It's like, no, it's going to be free. Obviously, I'm going to charge. I mean, I'm not going to gouge anybody because I hate the Furus that charge like $5,000 for some bullshit course, but I'm going to charge a very reasonable low fee where if you want to come into something that's real, there's a real edge. I've developed it. It's proprietary. It works. I'll call out what's happening at the end of the day in the live trading room. I'm going to show you exactly how I trade my own calls. I mean, guys, you're not going to find education like this anywhere. I know because I've been out there. I get the stories of other people who've come into my Discord. We're almost at 100 now. Link is in the description of the video if you want to join the Discord. Real traders, like we're just a good, cool group of guys. So many guys in that group have been scammed by Furus who charge them a bunch of money and just waste their time, right? So this is not going to be that at all. And what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is going to be totally accessible to everybody, regardless of your financial situation. Okay. I've got a lot of emails from people. I don't want to be, I don't want to miss it. Can you give me a scholarship? I'm like, calm down. You don't even know what I'm going to charge for it. And you're going to be shocked at how little I do charge for it because I want those of you who are motivated to have the chance to succeed, even if you don't have good financial resources right now. Okay. So that's how I'm looking at all this. But no, it's not going to be free, obviously, because when you make things free, guys, no one gives a shit. Everybody's like, oh, it's free. Like, they don't care. People care more about things they have a little bit of investment into, right? So it's just important to think about that. A little bit of a side note, but hey, I got to rant sometimes. Let's look at silver here. Same thing. I think we're kind of cycling back down here to the 30s is what it looks like. Pretty good little exhaust down on the weekly. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a pop on silver, especially if bonds roll over, rates come down. But again, I'd be looking to short the rallies on silver and gold. So that's what I'm looking for this week, okay? Let's go ahead and look at crude, and then we'll finish off with the dollar and Bitcoin. And if you guys have any special requests, if there's even one of you out there right now that's like, oh my God, I'm like, all I trade is platinum, Andy. Please tell me about platinum. Put it in the comment section. Tomorrow I'll cover platinum for you. But if I don't hear from anybody, I'm not going to cover any markets right now that I'm not trading, right? That doesn't make sense. All right, let's wait for the crude chart to load here. All right, guys. So here's crude. This is looking pretty interesting. I mean, yeah, the weekly pulled back, but you do have some good support in here. The monthly pulled back. You got good support here. The weekly, you've got some good support here, and now the daily is trying to round the bend. So, excuse me, on crude oil, I'd actually be in favor of looking for longs down into that 69.50 area. If it starts to push higher, I think you could just go with the trend and look for longs. Looks like we want to start pushing back up towards 71 at least. So crude looks interesting from the long side. All right, let's look at, let's just quickly look at the euro dollar just to see, we're going to tie this all together, right? So far I am expecting this, the indices to be under a little bit of pressure, but if bonds are going to roll over, rates are going to come down, there's less fear in the market. If the euro is going to catch a bid against the dollar, then that would just make your thesis for a choppy day tomorrow in the indices stronger than a breakaway market one way or the other. And if you saw these things unfolding in real time, then it influences how you're trading during the day. So I can't wait to share that with you guys when we are trading during the day together. But you gotta look at all these things together, right? So here you can see you have a gap open to the upside, euro catching a little bit of a bid. Going to be interesting to see what happens here. I still think there's a lot of resistance here at 104.40 for euro USD. So I'd be looking to short rallies up into that level. That's the level I'd be keeping a very close eye on because, for example, if that started to break and push higher and the euro's catching a bid, nobody's buying dollars, right? Bonds are rolling over. If that starts to happen, then stocks are probably going to be well supported, as the bigger players try and push them to the downside. You'll see that support because it's not as much of a temporary risk off market right now in the next 24 hours like it was last week. So if this doesn't make sense to you, I don't know how else I can explain it, but I think it's just repetition is the key, and you got to think about these things, and it's really important. Anyway, so you can see euro catching a bid, so less fear in the market. let's go ahead and finish off here with Bitcoin. That'll be our last little sort of litmus test for fear in the market or not. If Bitcoin is catching a little bit of a bid here, again, that's more speculative. So people are re-engaging with risk assets, right? So this is how you put all this stuff together. I'm not expecting like a huge dump on bonds, but definitely choppy, under pressure. Stocks, I think, are going to be choppy. So I think this market wants to see, where it wants to go. I'm not foreseeing, a huge move one way or the other. But generally speaking, you've got my levels, you've got my analysis, and I hope you use them to your advantage. We're getting a lot of people in the Discord who are saying, "Hey, look, thanks for that analysis. I wrote it down. I waited for, the intraday charts to go to that level. I acted, and I made money." I'm like, that's awesome. That's the point. That's why I'm doing this analysis for you guys right now, because I want you to use it and make money. That's the key, right? So here's Bitcoin. We did have a nice push up there on Friday. Still, look at that. Jeez, boy, talk about a gap on Bitcoin. Woo! So that's very, very bullish. And I would say, if people are coming in and buying Bitcoin like that monthly, that was a flush down. You guys go back and watch the video I did like 2 days ago where I called out that we were at like 82,000 at that point. And I said, guys, I think we're going to go down to 80,000 and test that. And we did. Sucked right back up. And now you got a lot of support, guys, into about 89,000 right here on the weekly, 89,000. So, yeah, I think based on what we're seeing on the euro dollar, bonds, Bitcoin, it looks like stocks might be initially under pressure here overnight in Asia. But by the time we start trading in the New York session tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin's hanging on to these gains, if the dollar is continuing to suffer against the euro is continuing to catch a bid, bonds are a little bit under pressure, right? That tells you that the fear trade is temporarily subsiding, and that should, support stocks. So hope this helps you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, question, go join the Discord. Anything you can do to help grow the channel and get people away from the Furu channels and into this channel, because it's real and it will help you if you pay attention. My system works. It's awesome. It's very unique. I know it's a little bit weird looking at first, but just hang out, pay attention, and you'll pick it up. All right. Take care, you guys. Happy Sunday.